right, meeting will come to order. First item is to approve our agenda. So a motion on the,
We have one deletion.
we have a number of deletions.
Okay.
So the motion on the floor is to approve the agenda with the following amendments. We are going to remove 2820 Hearst Terrace. We will take this up at a later date. We are removing 4821 Rodman Street. We already took this up, and the change that was in the top system was so minor, there's no need for us to bring this up again. We are deleting a discussion about the Intelsat Town Hall. We are adding in our QFR report, and I would like to add in a vote on the exact trolley trestle letter. We approved it in theory last week, but we didn't have the letter in front of us. So we'll be voting on that again. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussions or additions? Okay, the agenda is approved as amended. Up first is Officer McElwee. Brad, our administrator, is back online, and if we can get Officer McElwee spotlighted, that would be great.
Good evening, commissioners. Can everybody hear me?
Perfectly, thank you.
Let me know when you want me to start off with your administrator.
Go ahead, go ahead.
All right, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Officer Anthony McElwee. I am basically known as your traffic officer. I also am your community liaison officer with the 2nd District. I am going to go over the last 31 days of offenses that we've had in your communities. We had 20 of them. We had 2 assaults that were domestic related, 1 burglary, 4 motor vehicle thefts, 4 theft from autos, and 9 general thefts. I'll start off with the assaults. The assaults were both domestic related, and there was no threat to the community. The burglary, which occurred within the 3700 block of University Avenue on October 6th at approximately 3:40 a.m. An unknown subject entered an unlocked door to the residence and stole a purse off a nearby counter, I believe, and then made his escape through the door that he entered. The 4 stolen autos occurred 4500 MacArthur Boulevard on October 12th. That was a 2014 unknown type vehicle with DC tags. 3100 block of New Mexico Avenue on October 22nd, which was taken, was a 2012 Infiniti with DC tags. 4000 block of Mass Avenue on October 22nd, overnight in October 23rd. We also had a 2008 Infiniti 35 with Virginia tags that was stolen, and the 5100 block of Sherrier Place on October 4th, overnight into October 5th. Stolen was a 2022 Volkswagen SUV with DC tags. I'm going to start moving on to theft from autos. I first want to start off with an update. If we go by the last, we actually had an uptick in theft from autos between 30 and 60 days ago. We saw 26 theft from autos occurring within your community. Because of this, the commander utilized our CST folks. They're known as Crime Suppression Team. They focus in and assist patrols on particular situations or crimes. In this case, it was theft from autos. Our units, they assist our units, and they focused in within your communities and your neighborhood within PSA 205. During their patrols, they tracked a stolen device that had been stolen, I believe, in 205 to a Mobile X store located at the 14th Street area northwest. Further investigation resulted in the arrest of 2 individuals. We were able to close out numerous theft from automobiles cases, and in some instances, we were able to return some of the stolen items back to their owners. These 2 individuals were also linked to other theft from autos all around the city, to include Montgomery County. Since their arrest, Over the last 30 days to now, we saw a significant drop in theft from auto offenses. We were down to 4, which is still way too many. But because those individuals were removed from the street, we saw a significant decline. We asked that everyone removes valuables, lock your car doors, and report suspicious people and vehicles to 911. The 4 areas where we did have the theft from autos, so the residents and everybody can be aware: 4800 block of Mass on October 22nd, 6:30 p.m. 4500 Hawthorne on October 11th, 9 a.m. 4900 W Street and 4900 Canal Road. All thefts involved items left in plain view for the suspects to see. Moving on to general thefts, we had 6 general thefts. 4400 Volta, we had a bicycle stolen. 1500 block of 44th Street, some patio furniture was stolen. 1800 block of Hoban, we had a porch pirate steal a package off the porch. And 4400 Reservoir, inside the home, the resident had guests and friends. Someone stole a cell phone from the home. While I am on the topic of packages, it's getting tis the season here. Christmas coming up. Please get your packages off your porches. We see an increase around that time of theft of packages. Also, it's going to get cold starting tonight. Please do not leave your vehicles running to warm them up. Not only it is a violation, but last year we saw quite a few thefts where people were warming up their cars and somebody jumped in the vehicle and took off with it, stole it. Moving into the traffic report. Foxhole and Reservoir Road, one of my problem areas. I targeted that area. Ward Circle. We also had a community walk, and I'd like to thank Commissioner Roosevelt attended our community walk, which involved American University on October 18th. We conducted a pedestrian safety in the circle, and we also had some officers out there making car stops for violators. 4400 P Street and 4500 Macomb Street, I focused in on for AM morning rush hour do not enter violations. And finally, Sherrier, Dorset, Carolina, and Potomac Avenue for evening rush hours are not allowed to cut through those streets, but they do to avoid the intersection of MacArthur Boulevard in Arizona. They use those roads are like a bypass. I did write 16 tickets out there for that. Also, MacArthur High School. We gave special attention out there in the morning and in the afternoon, arrival and departure. With that said, I'd like to take any complaints, concerns, or any other issues.
Do any commissioners have any questions?
I have one quick question, Officer McElwee. Thank you for the 16 tickets there at Carolina, Sherrier, and Potomac. Really appreciate that. I'm 3D04, so it's my SMD. We've seen quite an uptick in Virginia drivers cutting through to get to Chain Bridge. And I noticed since the bollards went up at the intersection of Arizona and MacArthur, it's kind of put a bit of a pinch point, which seems to be slowing. I don't know if you've seen an increase in backup at that intersection that's kind of forcing cars to cut through the neighborhood at a greater frequency, or have you seen an increase in the numbers, or is it about the same?
No, we've seen an increase traffic backup along MacArthur, mainly coming inbound at Arizona. And I don't know if you've noticed, but DDOT has put out a traffic control officer out there to assist with pulling and cutting traffic to try to eliminate the backup. He's been out there every day during rush hour.
Okay, great. I just wanted to see if it was me. I don't know if it was me or if other people.
No, it has backed up. The cones, because people could turn to the right, and now you have to, if you have one person that stops going inbound in that lane and they want to go straight, everybody's stuck behind them.
Right.
And I believe there's a no turn on red sign down there. So that's our objective there. We don't want people turning because of the crosswalks. So
Right.
it's backing up, and that's why they're cutting across. But we will continue to monitor that neighborhood there to enforce for the cut throughs. And it is $100 fine and 2 points.
Oh, good. Great. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Davis.
Officer McAwee, was there somewhere in your report that there was a pedestrian hit by a car?
I haven't heard any. I mean, I know we didn't have anything serious, but I have not seen that on my radar. Did you hear something that I missed?
Well.
The
yes.
pedestrian in front of MacArthur High School?
No, this was on Carolina and Sherrier.
I did.
Yeah,
And it was a hit.
actually, yeah,
I-
that
yes.
was me, Officer McAwee. That was me. We spoke briefly about it. I don't need to bring it up at this meeting, but that was I was going to bring it up kind of separately to see where this if there was a status. We don't need to take up this meeting with it.
Someone wrote and someone asked me about it in the chat. So I
Okay.
wasn't going to call you out, Andrew,
Okay.
but someone did ask about it. I guess one of the things that was concerning to us is that this was a hit and run. And
It was.
that seems very serious to us.
Mhm.
And so we didn't know if someone was, following up on this or.
Chairman, I have a response
We
on
reviewed.
that. I talked to Captain Askus about this, and he assured me that the department is following up on it.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, our hit and run unit looks at it. We have some pictures of videos of the vehicle, and I don't want to go into everything that I'm doing, but we know what the vehicle looks like, and I'm pretty confident that it's a regular commuter. So if I see that vehicle with the park tag that we have, we'll make a stop of it. But we are watching out for that vehicle. We do have some particulars on it, which is very helpful for us. Hopefully, we'll have a positive outcome.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions from the public? Those were the ones that I had in the chat that were sent to me. Anyone else? All right, thank you so much.
Before I go, I just want to put two things out there that our outreach, Ms. Branch at 2D wanted me to put out. Remind everybody that we have a private security camera system incentive program. And I'm going to put the website in the chat room, but you can get up to $200 per camera with a maximum of up to $500 for homes, offices, condos, and apartment buildings, and even up to $750 for other eligible addresses within the community. And lastly, if you happen to own a 2011 or 2021 Hyundai Kia, and it must be the ones where you start with the key, not the push starters, and you're a DC resident, these vehicles have been known on social media. They've become, there's some things out there on the social media that tell you how to steal these vehicles and start them up and drive off. The second district is providing at no cost a club, and it goes across your steering wheel, and it protects the car from being stolen. It's free. You can come to 2D. All we ask is you bring a DC registration of those vehicles and between those years, and that you're a resident, and we'll give you a free club.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Everybody have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you for everything you do.
All right. Good night.
Good night. All right, we are moving on to our updates. First up is Matthew Barclay from the mayor's office. He is our MOCR. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, my name is Matthew Barclay. I work in the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services. I'm your Ward 3 liaison. I'll put my information in the chat. You can come to me with any issues you may have interacting with DC government or compliments. I have some announcements. This week begins leaf collection. Leaf collection will begin on October 30th and continue through January 20th. You can also compost your pumpkins and gourds at the food waste drop-off locations. You can find those at dpw.dc.gov. Mayor Bowser's FY24 budget included funding for new equipment, including 40 new electric leaf blowers, 6 more leaf vac trucks, 18 additional dump trucks to haul the vacs, and 3 new buckets that can be attached to the agency's trucks and that will allow crews to collect leaves at a faster rate than in years past. So we love that. Quicker leaf pickup. Residents can check the latest schedule every Friday through an online leaf tracker at dpw.dc.gov. by calling the DPW Leaf line at 202-671-LEAF 5323. There will also be door hangers going out 2 weeks before, and we ask that residents put their leaves out the Monday before the announced collection week. And do so in the tree box or on the side of the road. This week also, new topic. Mayor Bowser announced that the district is launching a historical Black colleges and universities public service program in partnership with Howard University and University of the District of Columbia. These two district-based HBCUs are world-class education to students, and the partnership will allow DC government to create a pipeline for senior students to pursue a role in public service. Great news. Mayor Bowser announced also this week, she announced the Act Now Act, Addressing Crimes Trends Now Act, to address recent public safety challenges by giving law enforcement more tools to hold criminals accountable and keep neighborhoods safe. The proposed legislation also clarifies and updates several existing policies to better align with the day-to-day realities of safe and effective policing. They do this by supporting safe and effective policing, by clarifying the distinction between a serious use of force and an incidental contact with the neck, ensuring officers can review their body-worn camera footage prior to writing their initial police report in certain circumstances, making permanent clarification of what a vehicular pursuit is, and defining what information should be posted publicly relating to officer discipline. It also addresses recent crime trends, combating organized retail theft, creating criminal penalties for organized retail theft, establishing a new crime for directing organized retail theft, which makes it illegal for any person to act as the organizer of a theft for a for-profit scheme by recruiting or directing individuals to commit organized retail theft. It addresses loitering around open-air drug markets. It limits loitering by reinstating the ability of the MPD chief Smith to declare drug-free zones. The establishment of the temporary drug-free zones can interrupt this activity and allow neighborhoods to clean up and reclaim public space. Make it an unlawful. This bill also makes it unlawful to use masks for committing criminal acts, and reinstates the law that oops, sorry, I read that twice. With the purpose of makes it unlawful to use masks for committing criminal acts, and for the purpose of committing criminal acts, intimidating and threatening other people or causing fear. And so that's all I have for y'all today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'll drop my info in the chat.
We have some questions for you. Commissioner Elkins?
Thanks for your report. On the leaf collection, leaves are very important in our neighborhood, and I believe the mayor is correct in changing the system, because the department was always behind, and it got everybody upset. But could you go over the part that has to do with notice to the residents? Did you say 2 weeks ahead of time? What would happen 2 weeks ahead of time?
Yeah, 2 weeks ahead of time, there's going to be door hangers on your door.
You're going to
door. And you can visit
door hangers on every single.
So this is the class initiative. There's partnership with I believe it's the Anacostia Coordinating Council, and there's about 30 residents that will be. Am I still? It froze.
Yeah, there you go.
About 30 residents will be out putting door knockers on doors. That is correct.
Okay.
And before, I mean, you can also check the status of where the DPW will be on dpw.dc.gov, and they're going to update every Friday, and you should know where you are in relation to that on the website as well.
Well, I guess my comment on that is that 1 out of 1,000 people are going to go check on Friday afternoon to see where the leaf collection is. It would be helpful. It'd be helpful.
I think that I would be.
Go ahead.
Sorry. If you guys want me to, I can publish things on the listservs if you want.
That's
for an additional.
I think a lot of people get their information from the listserv, and I mean the door knockers is great, but if it works, that's fantastic. But I think the listservs would be helpful, and if you were able to do that for Ward 3, and particularly, of course, for ANC3D, I think we find that very helpful, particularly in this transition year when we're going to the new system. The people, I think we're gonna have a lot of people asking questions about it. Thank you.
I do too.
Commissioner Simkowitz?
Yes, Mr. Barclay, thank you for your report on crime. Please express my thanks to the mayor for the efforts that she's undertaking. The mayor and I both remember DC in the 80s because we were here, and we remember how bad it was. And I've heard her speak on many occasions that she does not want us to keep going on this path. And I think that she's doing everything that she reasonably can. So please tell her thank you from me at least, and hopefully from the rest of the commissioners.
I certainly will. I also forgot today she announced that we're doing a pilot program for digital tags. So that you can get a, I'm not sure how many people will go to, but obviously it's a pilot program. But the tags that you can put in your car, and then the police are able to track that car if it unfortunately ends up being carjacked. So we're piloting that, and that was announced today as well.
Thank you.
Nice. Are there any other questions for Mr. Barclay? Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
We'll let you know if anyone has any other questions.
One other
Wait.
thing, Mr. Barclay, are you still there?
Mhm.
He's still there, he's at the top.
If you could watch to see when the council is holding hearings on the mayor's bill and make sure that we all know about it, that would be helpful.
Sir,
I know it's not your job to track the council, but it's very important, of course, for us to know when that hearing is taking place.
sounds great. Yes, I'll do so. Tuesday will be the chief of police. What's it called? Confirmation hearing, I believe it's called. So they'll be voting on whether or not she'll be the permanent acting police chief, or not acting police chief, permanent chief.
Great.
That's the one I
thank
know right now. Welcome.
I believe we have someone from Councilmember Fruman's office. Is Ashley here?
Yes,
Hi.
hi, how are you?
Welcome.
Thank you. Stephen is not with our office anymore, and I know he used to attend you guys' meetings. So this month I'll be here. I'm not sure about going forward, but feel free to reach out to me even after this if you need anything related to Ward 3. But so just a quick update, well, a few quick updates. The Council Committee of the Whole will hold a hearing on a few of the council members' legislations or bills that he has addressed, addressing legacies of housing segregation in Rock Creek West and Chevy Chase Amendment Act of 2023, and releasing restrictive covenants in Deeds Act of 2023. The hearing will take place virtually on Friday, December 8th at noon. Those who wish to testify must register using the council's hearing management system by 5 p.m. on Wednesday, December 6th. Testimony is limited to 4 minutes. If you have any additional questions about testifying, please contact Evan Cash, and I'll post this information in the chat as well if I can. The council member has also co-introduced with Robert White and 8 other colleagues the Whole Government Response to Crime Act of 2023. This improves 911 operations and response by establishing a task force to provide system and leadership recommendations within 90 days. It also expands staffing and talent at the Department of Forensic Sciences Crime Scene Division, which has struggled with staffing constraints and high turnover. It also tracks where firearms in DC originate and creates a full-time victim services coordinator that connects residents with vital resources like legal aid, mental health support, and funeral cost assistance. If you have questions about this legislation, they can be directed to Elias Benda at ebenda at dccouncil.gov. As Matthew mentioned, leaf collection has begun. It will be residents should rake leaves into the tree box or the curb in front of the home if there is no tree box on the Sunday before collection begins. In their section, a full calendar will not be released in advance this year, but each Friday DPW will send out messages via numerous channels about where leaf collection will occur and when. You can also call their leaf line at 202-671-LEAF 5323 and sign up for their newsletter or check for messages using several social media outlets. The DC Smart Street Light Project, relevant to all ANCs. So it's DDOT they hosted a public meeting on October 26th at Cleveland Park Library, which was very it was a lot of information being given, and they definitely showed ways on, or talked about ways on how they're going to be trying to dim the light, and how the shields they're actually on back order right now. So if you have put in a 311 request for light dimming, they will come out to your area first to assess the area to see what type of, if you need a shield or if it needs to be dimmed. But if you do need a shield, they are on hold, a back order. I think that they come in around November 15th. And they will now stop closing the 311 requests. They used to close them out within 24 hours. They're going to keep them open so you can track the progress of your street lighting dimming requests. Let's see. And lastly, if you have any issue or concern and are having trouble getting a response from the appropriate government agency, please reach out to our office and a member of our constituent service team will assist. And I'll also post my information in the chat.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions for Councilmember Freeman's office? All right, Ashley, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. I do not believe that Christian Pinheiro is here from DDOT, but if he is, please raise your hand and we'll give you an opportunity. We are going to go on to our local institutions. I'll call these out. Do not feel like you have to give an update, but please do if you're ready. And we are going to start with GW, Kevin Dees.
Hi, I just have a brief update that I'd like to give. Last time I was here, I spent some time inviting you all to a number of public events that we would be hosting to celebrate the installation of our 19th president, President Ellen Grantberg. Well, as a result of some of the issues that are facing the community and the world, the university has decided to scale back those events. So we will not be having a number of the public events that we indicated that we would have. We hope to schedule them later when it's better timing, but there will be opportunities to stream the president's installation. We encourage you, if you're interested, to visit that streaming, and I'll drop all of this information, the links to that information into the chat box. But I did want to make an announcement to let folks know that the public events that were designed to celebrate the president's installation have been canceled. And that's my only unfortunate update for tonight.
Commissioner Elkins.
Mr. Days, I sent you a note about this, but I'll say it to everyone else. I thought that your new president's response to the unfortunate incident there on the campus with regard to criticizing other groups related to the current events was excellent. I thought she responded very well, and for a new president, that's a tough case because it's a new institution for her, and I thought she did very well. So I just wanted to
thank you, Commissioner Elkins, and I did appreciate the response, and in fact, I did forward it up the line just so that she could see it.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Days, very much for attending. Is there anyone here from American University that would like to speak?
Commissioner Duncan, I'm here.
Hello, Mr. Peterson, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, my update is very brief. It's really just to say thank you to the community. Last Friday, we hosted some fall programming. The weather didn't feel like fall, but we had fall programming with an arboretum tour and a showing of the movie Elemental in our amphitheater, and it was packed. we probably had over 200 kids and families that showed up for the movie, and had about 55 that showed up for the Moonlight Tour, and it was wonderful. I just wanted to say thank you for attending and enjoying the campus with us that night.
Thank you. Any questions for American University? Okay, I'm going to leave it up to, someone's raising their hand. It's too small for me to see. Oh, Mr. Clarkson.
Hey, yeah, no, thanks. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to thank Corey and the American University team for hosting the movie night on Friday. I was there with my family. Gosh, Corey, I don't know how many people, there are over 200 people there, I think, at least 200 RSVPs, and probably more people with their families that actually showed up. And it was a beautiful night. And, you know, so much of, Corey, so much of your time and your colleagues' time is spent sort of, unfortunately, addressing concerns, real or perceived, regarding zoning with the neighborhood, and so much time and resources devoted to that. And so it's really refreshing and welcome to see AU partner with the local public school PTAs to put on events like this that are positive, that, are true neighborly events where everyone benefits. And so I just wanted to thank you again. And I'm not going to speak for Horace Mann PTA, but there's just tremendous positive feedback that I've received personally for the event. So thank you again.
I appreciate that. And we're working with them on hopefully something else here come spring. And I did want to give a quick shout out. My colleague Gwen Coleman was really the architect of all of that. And she is driving home. She's online, but I couldn't get off camera to say something. So I just want to make sure that she's recognized for the hard work that she did.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Clarkson, for your comments. Okay, quickly moving on. If you are here from another institution, please raise your hand, but I am going to move on to commissioner updates. We generally go in order. Commissioner Elkins, do you have anything?
I have nothing. Thank you.
As the O2 commissioner, I have two things I wanted to say. One, the Arizona Avenue bike lanes are, the transportation committee saw 100% plans, and I think that we are going to see some improvements to the MacArthur and Arizona intersection that go far beyond protected bike lanes. And I think everyone's going to be really happy. We've got dedicated right turn lanes headed down to Arizona. I just think the whole intersection is going to be much safer. We have been alerted to the fact that when you're coming down MacArthur headed towards downtown, when you turn right onto Arizona Avenue, the cars can fit inside the reflective posts. DDOT will probably be out to make a temporary fix, but that whole corner there is going to be redone when they come and install the protected bike lanes. So that's some good news. The other update that I have that is not on our agenda tonight is the MacArthur apartments. The neighbors may recall that ANC voted 3-1 with 3 not present to approve the MacArthur apartments at the BZA hearing. The day before the BZA hearing, the zoning administrator sent a letter to the applicant and copied the ANC, saying that she was reversing a previous ruling and that the retail section there falls under the 1958 zoning regs, and they are required to have 12 parking spaces for the retail. They are only providing 4 with the design of the property now, so they have some choices. So at the BZA hearing, the only thing we discussed is when the next BZA hearing is going to be, because their application was deficient at this point. The BZA hearing is going to be on December 20th. We do not know if they are going to be seeking the 8 parking spaces of relief. There's a lot they need to do to meet that requirement with additional traffic and parking studies, or if they're going to provide more parking in the project. None of this we know, but we're going to be voting on this again as a commission at the December meeting, and this time the parking issue will be on the table for the BZA to consider. So I would like everybody to keep this in mind. This is a project that is ongoing. Commissioner Elkins.
Madam Chairman, I would like to ask, how are we going to make sure that when we meet on December
Six.
that we are well informed of what the neighborhood wants us to do about this parking issue? Can we do some outreach? I'm sure you probably planned this anyway. I'm just asking you, what is the outreach so that we are well informed?
It would be helpful if we knew what
What
relief they were going to ask for. If they're asking for 8 parking spaces of relief, I think that's something that we could put on, the listserv and collect some feedback. If they're gonna do some kind of redesign and have more, I mean, I think we did a survey and almost every question that had to do with parking, half the people cared about it very much and half the people didn't care about it very much, but half is a lot.
Right.
And it wasn't just geography. It wasn't just the people who lived near there. It was also people who drive there. And some of the people who lived there didn't care about the parking because they don't have a car. So it was not a geographically driven thing. And the reason I know this is because of the comments. Commissioner Simquist.
Commissioner Duncan, why don't we ask for an extension or a delay of the BZA hearing to allow the applicant to present a full package to us so we can comment? Because with the BZA hearing scheduled for December 20, that doesn't give us hardly any time. So a delay, I think, would be appropriate. And I think that we might be able to vote on that today to give them notice that we want this to be fully vetted with the community and with the applicant.
I'm willing to take some suggestions there. I personally am exhausted by this project, and I actually don't think there's any other information that I know. I think depending on what they do.
But I think that's the point, is that nobody knows what they're gonna do. And if we push it off till January or February, we can have a better presentation for us to vote on. Because right now, if we go to our meeting in December, we may not have anything new to add, and therefore we have to say we don't know what's going on because we don't have any data that we've been given by anybody. That's the problem we have. I think that we should prospectively ask for a delay, and the applicant frankly may want a delay as well, because putting something together this fast may be impossible.
Commissioner,
Madam Chair.
yes.
Maybe we could ask the attorneys for the applicants when they thought they were gonna get their act together, because I would think that they'd want to present to us and try to get us to agree to whatever it is they're going to be proposing, which would mean they'd have to get their act together awfully quick to present to us on December 1st. And once we find that out, maybe it's possible for us to vote on December 1st, or maybe they'll realize themselves that they need a delay.
That's a good point. Commissioner Elkins.
Well, I'm thinking here along that line that, so they present on December 1, we would have to vote right then. We would have maybe people in the audience giving us comments, but the public would be hearing the same time we would. And it seems to me on something this important to the neighborhood, we ought to think about whether that's rushing it too much. If they're going to redesign the building, it's conceivable that it would have no impact on the neighborhood. It just simply takes apartments or something, but it could also change the traffic pattern or whatever. We don't know. So
one of the things I know, if you ask for more than 4 parking spaces of relief, it triggers extra things that they need to do in terms of what kind of reports they need to submit. I had asked for a January date at the BZA hearing. It was the BZA who was pushing us to do December. I would like to table this discussion because I think it's really important. Maybe we'll talk about it at the end of the meeting under Commissioner Business. Okay. My those are my two updates. Quentin, do you have, did you have a question or?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think the timeline at this point does not seem right for this at all. I mean, I do not think we can be presented with plans on December 1st and then vote on those plans on December 1st. I don't think the community can be presented with the plans on December 1st and have, a good time.
December
to
6th, not that that makes a difference, but.
I just don't, oh, December 6th? Okay.
Our meeting
I mean,
is
yeah, no,
December.
have you reached out, Commissioner Duncan and Commissioner Horn, have you reached out to them? Have you asked them what they're planning and have they just not responded or?
No.
Because really we need these plans soon. I just don't think the timeline right now makes any, I don't think it's possible. I don't think the outcome is going to be good. I think it'll all be rushed, and I think it was already rushed to begin with. And so rushing it again, now that we have to go through this entire process again, just doesn't sound great to me. So I would love it if we could delay until January or February, but if the BCA won't let us do that, so you asked them at the meeting and they said no, basically, or what was their response?
Well, the applicant was pushing for December. I wanted January.
Oh, they were pushing for December?
Well, and then I was pushing for January. The BZA was saying our calendar's so full. They were just sort of trying to fit them in because they've already waited so long. And I mean, if all that has changed is that they need 8 parking spaces of relief, do we need 2 months to decide what our votes are?
I mean, it's a different question than the question that was posed at our last meeting, I do think, but I have a feeling they might redraw plans or something, and that would really, really mess up everything for us.
If I may, we can't really find out about this on December 6th. They have to tell us.
Yeah.
2 weeks ahead of time or something. We have to have some time.
Commissioner Horn and I will call the attorneys. We have communicated with them many times. We'll ask them what they're thinking. See if
And
they have
the hearing would be on the 20th. Is that on December 20th? Is that what it is? Okay. I mean, we could do another special meeting if that helps. If we could, present at one meeting or like do a meeting before to have the presentation, and then I know more special meetings, but like
we don't normally meet in December. So
that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Under that we wanted, and it would just be a special meeting. How about we contemplate this as the meeting goes on, and then at the end of the meeting, when it's just the commissioner business, we can bring it up again. How about that?
That's totally
okay. Do you have any updates, Clinton?
No, not exactly. I mean, we're going to be considering the Spring Valley letter later in the meeting, so if you're a Spring Valley resident, wait for that. But other than that, nope.
All right. Commissioner Davis, 04, any updates?
Yes, just a real quick one, not necessarily update, but I was contacted by one of my constituents for an issue actually in 3D 03, Commissioner Roosevelt, just regarding the several piles of wood chips that are at I guess it's the corner of De La Carlia and Lawborough. And it said he had reached out to DDOT and a couple other agencies, and everybody's saying that they are on private property and there's nothing the city can do. My understanding is that the city property goes back 10 feet from the curb, so should be under the auspices of the DC government. But has anybody else heard any complaints about these or anything been done about it?
Those wood chips are for the taking.
Right.
The wood chips that were dumped there over by W Street Park and at the Trolley Trail were all from the 20 heritage trees that we lost.
Yeah.
So people can take those. I know that there were parts, the PCA rented a backhoe and spread the chips all along the Trolley Trail. I think it was done over at W Street. I would tell the constituents that they're just going to let it rot into the earth as compost unless people start hauling it off.
So are we okay with that though? Because it's going to be there for years, and it's I mean that's a lot. Just I would
where exactly are they?
There's almost a dozen piles. So
a dozen?
But there's a bunch.
It's across the street. It's the corner of Del Carlia and Loughborough, across from.
So what, like near Sibley?
Sibley, yeah.
Like but like where? Like, are they Are they on that corner? Like, so they're across the street from Sibley? Is that
Across Dale Colley Parkway from Sibley.
okay? Wait,
On the corner there.
Across from the Capitol Bike Share.
not on. Are they on like? I mean, where are they on the sidewalk? Where are they?
So if you're on the corner of De La Carlia and Lowborough, look across De La Carlia. So I guess that would be.
Oh, okay.
There's no sidewalk on that side.
Okay,
There's
so it's
sidewalk over
not.
there, but there's a little kind of bench back in the woods, for people to go.
So they're just sort of in the woods back there.
Yeah, but they've been. I mean, it's been almost 6 months now. Not that long, but maybe 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah, it has.
July was the storm. June was the storm.
But I just need to know how to respond to my constituents and people that contact me about it. Are we okay with that? Should we just leave it and say that like there's nothing we can do and just let it, rot in the earth? Or
Commissioner Hopkins.
I don't think it's okay to let those just decay into the ground. I agree with them. It can be 10 years. I mean, we're talking about very large piles of chips. That's, as he says, there's a bench there where people used to sit. I haven't looked at it closely. I don't think you'd want to sit there now. It probably wouldn't be safe to sit there, be attacked or something. So I just don't think it's right for the city to do that.
Well, let's figure out who we can send a letter to and ask for it to be
Maybe
something.
our new commissioner can figure that out, and then our December meeting, we can.
happy to. Yeah, this could be my my first one.
Well, this is technically
Alright.
this is in my single member district, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. It is yours, Commissioner Roosevelt. I'd like to thank you again for it. I would like to get back to my constituent and let him know that we are doing something, So
Yeah, no, we can take us. I mean, we could send a letter to DDOT, or I mean, could this just be a simple 3-on-1 request? I don't know.
So he says that he's already reached out, and the agencies that he's talked to say that it's private property, so there's nothing we can do. So
But this is, wait, is this in the park? I mean, how could this be private property?
my point exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Davis.
Sure thing.
Next up, 05, Commissioner Horn.
I'd like to report on the Trammell Crow Balfour sidewalks and traffic improvements issue. This ANC has repeatedly passed resolutions and nudged a whole lot of people to attempt to get Trammell Crow to build the pedestrian traffic safety measures that were part of the BZA ruling in 2020. It's called Condition 2C. A few weeks ago, the BZA had a hearing and agreed with us, at least to the extent that this could not be decided as a modification of consequence, which is basically a small thing. And they rescheduled it for November 29th as a modification of significance, meaning that there will be a public hearing. In the meantime, Trammell Crow hired a subcontractor who is surveying or completed a survey for building sidewalks. I don't necessarily think that means they're going to do it, but that they're going to present a plan to the Department of Transportation, which the condition required them to do. So we have asked the Department of Transportation to consult with us before deciding what they're going to do about these traffic improvements.
And we're hoping that they decide to sit down with us. Thank you. A tremendous amount of work has gone into this for 3 years now. So we're in the home stretch. Commissioner Simkowitz, update.
Hi, I wish I didn't have to do this, but this is the citywide police data. I wish the police department would allow Officer McAwee to present this, but here we are. We had 831 carjacking offenses this year, 831. We've only closed 220 of those, and 74% of those involved guns. We've had 230 homicides. This is going back to the 80s time. I mean, we've had a 31% increase this year. We've had 1,230 assaults with a dangerous weapon, 2,945 robberies, which is a 70% increase from last year. And our violent crime total is 4,542, which is a 41% increase. Motor vehicle thefts are almost 6,000, 5,916. For our city of our size, that's unacceptable. That's 101%. That's double the rate of last year. And we've had 10,846 other thefts. That's 10,846 thefts, shoplifting, thefts of bikes, whatever. This is not acceptable, but I want to personalize something that happened Saturday night so that when we sit here and talk, it really brings it home. There was a 13-year-old who carjacked somebody down by the convention center or somewhere Saturday night. That 13-year-old was shot and killed by somebody who was defending their life. This child had indicated that he had a gun. It turns out that he didn't, but he's still dead. Our city let this child down. He was arrested on 9 prior carjackings this year, and he was not kept in a shelter. Now, I started my legal career in the state's attorney's office for PG County, and I was in the juvenile division, so I know a lot about crime. Juvenile justice is different than regular adult justice. The goal that every jurisdiction has is to prevent things from happening. It's not punitive, it's rehabilitative. And under a rehabilitative system, we want to protect these kids basically from themselves. And we didn't do that here. And I think that our focus should be increasing resources to prevent these kids from doing things that result in their death, whether it's a car accident, when they steal a car, or getting shot in the course of a robbery or carjacking. And, we just can't have this. This is disgusting. And, I feel bad for this, for the child. I feel bad for the child's family, and I feel bad for the poor special police officer who was forced to take this child's life because he was in fear for his own life over stealing a car. And this is disgusting, and I hope that we can have an answer both in this commission and in the city as a whole.
Thank you. That concludes our commissioner updates. Members of the public, you are here on a matter that is not related to anything we have on our agenda. Now would be the time to spend a minute or two. You can raise your hand. But we have 2 discussion speakers tonight, and we are running a tad bit behind, but our actual agenda tonight for official business is very short, so I'm not concerned. Up first is Ann Du Bois, and she is here to fill us in on what is going on with Washington Gas Pipe 3 project and the proposed extreme rate hike.
Commissioner Duncan, before we get into that, I saw this presentation in another ANC, and I think it's informative, and I was appreciative of the speaker. But the problem is I was left with, what is the other side? Why is this rate increase happening? I would like to hear from Washington Gas, and I would therefore, I propose that we move this to another meeting where we invite the company itself to speak.
So that is a very, very good point. We are not voting on anything tonight. So what I would like to do is we could hear this side, and then we could invite Washington Gas, and then we can figure out what course of action, because I think we have some time.
Because, I thought it was very informative, and I was interested to see that perspective, but I was left with what's going on at Washington Gas to make them do this rate increase. And maybe the speaker can talk about her perspective of their position. But I would like to hear from them at some point.
I agree. I think that would be appropriate. Okay, we are going to hand it over to Ms. Du Bois, and I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. And if our administrator, Brad, could pin her. Hello.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Chair Duncan, and thank you, ANC commissioners. Good evening, ANC3D. I am your neighbor, Ann Du Bois. I live in Glover Park. I am a gas customer. I know you're running behind, and you've got a lot of important considerations on this meeting, and I also understand you would like to hear from Washington Gas. I want to preface my presentation by saying Washington Gas is holding a listening session next week on the 9th at UDC from 6 to 8. It's free, dinner is served, and you could hear their perspective if you attend that. It is easier possibly than trying to get a Washington Gas rep to come and meet with the ANC, but they do that as well. I'd like to share my screen if I could.
I think we can give you permission to do that.
Thank you. I'm looking, it's just still disabled. Oh, here we go. Thank you. Okay. All right. So I want to say also, I am a volunteer with Chesapeake Climate Action Network. It's a 20-year-old environmental advocacy organization that works in the region. So right up front, I'm an environmental volunteer as well as a Ward 3 resident. And I want to make it really clear that I am not opposing pipe leak repair or necessary pipe replacement when I'm talking with you tonight. There is a regular replacement program, the Distribution Integrity Management Program, that is run by Washington Gas that takes care of the essential and the emergency leak and repairs, okay? I'm talking about a specific program called Project Pipes that is the Accelerated Pipeline Replacement Program. So we know gas pipes in DC are very old. Some of them are old cast iron. They're over 100 years old. They're leak prone. Repairs are needed. Project Pipes was put in place as a 40-year accelerated plan. As you can see, it began in 2014. It is supposed to end in 2054. The Office of People's Counsel says it might end in 2116 at the rate they're going now. If you look at your gas bill, if you get a gas bill, you can see a specific charge, the surcharge for Project Pipes. There are also charges hidden in the distribution service as well for Project Pipes replacement. Project Pipes is paid for almost, I think Pipes 3 would be paid 99% by ratepayers through this surcharge. So the first phase again started in 2014, cost about $141 million. The second phase, the one we're in now, was capped by the Public Service Commission at $150 million and only 3 years instead of 5. Now, Washington Gas is asking for this next 5 years, $671.8 million. So let's compare the prices. So they want to replace 28 miles of main at this amount of money. The total price tag, and this is coming from Washington Gas, was projected to be $4.5 billion. So we're not talking about hundreds of millions. We're talking about billions of dollars of expenditure over time to replace virtually all the pipes in the district. Washington Gas would like a decision by the end of the year. Pipes 2 ends at the end of this year. So there's pressure on the Public Service Commission to decide what to do. We think that Washington Gas is greenwashing. So this is clearly the environmental perspective. They claim Project Pipes has reduced greenhouse gases, and it's true. When you replace a pipe, you take care of the leaks. But the dilemma with Project Pipes as a 40-year program is it's locking us into fossil fuel gas use. What Washington Gas would like is for us to be using gaseous fuels indefinitely. That's combusted fuels that contribute to global warming, climate change, and also pollute our environment. Safety and reliability is what they fall back on. When you ask about project pipes, that's what they say. But at this point, hazardous leaks on the system, as reported by the Public Service Commission, represent 77% of the leaks. So if there is really some question as to whether this program is taking care of the leaks or not. This program, Project Pipes, is in direct contradiction to our climate goals that are in law. There's already, excuse me, a climate mandate to be net zero by 2045. The company is investing enormous amounts of ratepayer money, which the surcharge means they can get the money now. They don't have to wait for a rate case. They don't have to wait to ask. They're taking in money all the time, every month, from gas customers to keep this going. Gas customers are reinvesting in this program every month, whether they want to or not. A better solution and a far more economical solution would be targeted repair of the worst pipes rather than proactive pipe replacement. The district is on target, in momentum to move toward electrification and more clean energy in the coming years. This program does not fit. So in terms of equity, as DC moves toward electrification and other clean energy, the wealthier households, many of whom are in your ANC, will decide they don't want to pay the high gas bills. I know you're looking at your watch. I'm sorry, I'm going to go fast as I can. The low-income families are going to bear the brunt of this. As the number of customers drops, the low-income families are going to be hit with the big bills to pay for this program. Public health, we already know there's a lot in the media about air pollution, indoor air pollution from gas stoves and other appliances. Gas stoves leak methane. 75% of the methane they leak happens when they're turned off. It doesn't matter how old the stove is. It doesn't matter how expensive the stove is. It's still leaking. So burning natural gas is in fact a household danger. I'm part of a campaign. We are hoping that the Public Service Commission will see reason and radically curtail this program before it wastes a lot of ratepayer money. And what I'm talking about is paying for this far past the net zero target of 2045. I saw one study that said stranded assets, which means pipes that are no longer used or useful, could amount to $2 billion that ratepayers will pay for anyway, right? This was a study that was commissioned by Washington Gas a couple of years ago. So those stranded assets are going to be amortized, I think this study said, until 2084. So when you think about it, Quentin, you're going to be paying for this until you're an old man, right? But we won't be using the pipes you're paying for. They'll just be in the ground. Don't mean to pick on you, Quentin. Okay, so I'm part of a coalition. You can see who we're working with: DC Environmental Network, Nature Forward, Sierra Club, Earth Justice. Okay, so we're in good company because the interveners in this case are the Office of the People's Council. Those are the advocates for ratepayers. That is an agency that advocates for ratepayers, and they're opposed to this program. They are advising this program should be paused until there's better planning, that ratepayers shouldn't be saddled with this money. The DC government is an intervener. The Apartment and Office Building Association is an intervener. So there's a lot of opposition to this program. We would like to ask you to join us in opposing it. We're asking all ANCs to pass a resolution. A template resolution has been provided. You could write your own if you would prefer. That resolution would send a really powerful message to the council and the Public Service Commission from the ANCs. I certainly do not expect that resolution to be passed tonight, but I'm hoping you will consider it, consider signing it, and Chair Duncan has it for distribution for you all to see. If you have questions, I am really happy to answer them. I know there's not time tonight. You can see a contact name here. Naomi Cohen Shields is the DC campaign manager. There's a QR code there, and that links you to a petition that is very easy to sign on the spot opposing Project Pipes 3. This, I realize, is our perspective. You would like to hear from Washington Gas. They are going to tell you that this program improves the safety and reliability. They are not going to tell you it's going to cost billions of dollars over decades to implement this program, and that the main way the company makes money is through assets. They can't charge it. The charges for gas they can't overcharge for gas. They can't overcharge for maintenance. The only way the company makes a profit is from infrastructure. The company is owned by a Canadian infrastructure giant, AltaGas in Calgary. Washington Gas is not your neighborhood, your friendly neighborhood gas company anymore, right? They are in the business of infrastructure and making money for their shareholders. So let's bear that in mind when you hear what they have to say. All right, any questions at the moment?
I'm going to kick off just a basic question. Washington Gas, is this for DC customers only, or is this the surrounding Virginia and Maryland? I think people in Arlington also use Washington Gas, don't they?
Yeah. So there's a Washington Gas program in Maryland. It's called STRIDE. Ours is called Project Pipes. Theirs is called STRIDE, right? And the Maryland OPC has done a fabulous job of opposing STRIDE. They have really gone to bat, and now that Public Service Commission in Maryland will open a gas planning docket to address this problem, right? Our Public Service Commission is holding back. They are not acting. They are not acting really in our interest to address this issue. Yes, there is also Washington Gas in Virginia as well, to answer your question. But I'm talking specifically about Washington, DC, our Washington Gas Project Pipes program.
Great. I think we have some questions for you. So do you want to get out of the presentation and we can have discussion?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Alves, did you have a?
Well, I did have a question, and at least a short answer at this point. It might take longer. We may need a longer answer, but it seems to me the main argument, and you've presented it, is in their favor is preventing safety issues, leaks that are a hazard, and I could see the Public Service Commission being concerned about making sure that residents are safe from these leaks. What can be said about a program that takes care of the leaks and protects safety and still doesn't do this complete infrastructure change?
Well, that program exists. That's the regular maintenance program. That's the program that responds to emergencies. That's the program that has a risk assessment. So there are two parallel programs for this problem, right? Washington Gas takes care of the leaks through regular maintenance. They lay new infrastructure, or they replace infrastructure and upgrade infrastructure through this proactive replacement. Effectively, it does deal with leaks, but that's not the purpose of the program. And they can't tell you that the purpose of the program is to remedy leaks, even though that's the result. The purpose of the program is infrastructure.
So dealing with emergency leaks and this sort of thing is not pipes 2. It's a separate, that ends at the end of this year. The emergency or dealing with leaks is an entirely separate program, you're saying?
Yes, and will be ongoing. I'm not here to say leaks shouldn't be fixed or emergency shouldn't be dealt with. Far from it.
Right. Okay, that helps. I was thinking maybe that emergency part was coming to an end in December as.
Oh, no.
Okay, thank you. You've clarified that.
Yeah, the
Commissioner-
program is in place. The DIMP is in place.
I don't mean to be negative, but and I'm probably on your side, but I just remember in 2001, we had the exploding manhole covers. Does anybody remember
Oh,
that?
yeah.
And it was a big problem, and I don't know if that was a gas or electric or who it was, but it was a serious problem. And you know, we have to do proactive maintenance and you know, new pipes. We're doing that with water with that big sewer project. That's why I'd like to hear more from them to see what exactly it is. I mean, I thank you for coming in. I think this has been really interesting, but I think before we'd ever vote, and I know we're not voting tonight, we really need to hear from them.
Yeah, and it's true. Gas is dangerous. This is more whitewashing. Washington Gas will tell you that gas is safe. It is not actually safe. Explosions do happen. And I think that's a big reason we could all advocate for cleaner energy rather than using explosive, polluting fossil fuel energy.
I mean, I'm on board with all that, but we've had leaks on my street, on 44th Street. And we've seen examples all around the country of houses blowing up because of gas problems. And I think that's a separate issue, which maybe we want to get away from gas. And I think what you're telling us is that by slowing this project down or stopping it, we might think of other alternatives, and I support that. But I just need to hear more. So hopefully by the time we vote, we will get that.
Yeah,
That was
really,
my next
I really
question.
understand. I respect that and understand it, certainly.
So my next question is, do we know when the Public Service Commission or the commission that's going to approve this rate hike, do we have a deadline of when they are going to decide something?
We do not at the moment. The Public Service Commission is the regulator and they will make the decision. They have not issued a procedural schedule.
Okay.
They have a Pipes 2 audit that they really should look at. That's not going to be done until the end of November. They should look at that before they make a decision on Pipes 3. Washington Gas wants a decision by the end of the year. The Public Service Commission realistically may push this into January, and there's an understanding that work will continue month to month until there's a final decision.
Okay, thank you very much.
When do you want us to vote on this?
Kelly, I hear what you're saying about getting an understanding from Washington Gas. And again, I encourage you to go to that listening session. I would, if we could have our dream come true, the resolution would be voted on by the end of November or early December so that it could go to the Public Service Commission while they're considering their decision.
Would you be willing to when we have Washington Gas, because you're obviously more informed than we are, basically to rebut whatever they say?
I'd be glad to.
Thank you.
I will be very transparent. I am not an expert. I don't have a background in gas infrastructure. I'm a person who became concerned about this and started reading the Public Service Commission docket. So I do have access to a good bit of information, and I have backup from an attorney who also has really good information. And I wouldn't hesitate to come in when they present to you and ask some questions.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. This was very informative, and without your outreach, I don't think any of us would know about it. So extra thank you.
Appreciate your time tonight. Thanks very much.
Up next, we are going to get a presentation from the Office of Campaign Finance. I believe we have Belinda Perry and/or Dolores Ramsey here. Hello. And I would just like to introduce you all the Office of Campaign Finance. I believe that you're trying to go do every ANC to make a presentation. Yes. Okay. So welcome to 3D, and we appreciate your patience tonight. And I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for allowing us to present. My name is Belinda Kittles Perry. I'm an attorney advisor with the Office of Campaign Finance. I'm sure most of you are familiar with our organization, but for those that are not, I'm going to just give a brief outline. The Office of Campaign Finances is in 5 divisions: the legal department, the training department, which Ms. Dolores Ramsey is in charge of, and she has brought these presentations to you and other ANCs throughout the city. We have a records division. We have an audit division, which is for the traditional elections program, campaigns program, and we also have the Fair Elections program. So the Fair Elections program, as you know and appreciate, is a flagship program of the organization. It came into being on 2018 and actually was funded on my birthday, yay, November 7th. So that's exciting to me. I've helped this organization grow. I was a policy analyst for the Fair Elections Division when it first started, and then I segued over to the legal division. So as you know, this public financing program has grown in leaps and bounds. It has now become the main source of campaign financing for individuals that want to run. And what is the effect of this program? As you know, or may not appreciate, but before the program was instituted and voted on by the DC Council, the individuals that put together the program went far and long to many jurisdictions in New York, Connecticut, and traveled across the country looking at other prototypes of programs. We have a very unique program, and it is composed of matching funds at the rate of $1 for every $5 and a base lump sum payment. So to be part of the program, there are several conditions that you have to meet and several conditions that you have to partake in. But the main outline, and I'm not going to go into the very, very nuanced details, but it's all available on our website, which is very robust in terms of those exact details. But the way the program works is this. If you decide you want to run for office and you have a calling, generally in the past, you were beholden to big corporate funds, donations, and now because you have public financing, this objective of this program is to free you up, to allow you to directly connect with your constituents in your community, to not make door knocking and getting contributions your main focus, but it brings you on a grassroots level. It levels the playing field, and it allows people that may not have been inclined to run for public office before to do so. So it changes the whole look, and you're getting fresh new faces, and you're getting people that are very committed to their particular community, and people that are part of their community, people that know their community. And so that being said, we have had in the past election cycle expended $10 million in public funds, and that is for certain individuals. Last election was roughly 59-60 candidates. And out of those candidates, several people were winning candidates. So the program is robust, and the program has been known to deliver. So you really have a vested interest in people growing in the community, and access is the main key. So who's eligible? The seats eligible for this program are the mayor, the attorney general, the council chair, the ward councils, the at-large council for the Board of Education, and for the Board of Education seats as well. When you decide you want to run for a public office, you have to agree to certain conditions. Those conditions primarily are no PACs, no corporate funds. You can only qualify to become a participant in the program based on contributions that we call small dollar donations from residents of the District of Columbia. You are permitted to take contributions from people outside of the District of Columbia, but those contributions as well must be capped by the preset parameters. And those parameters go from $20 up to $100 or $200 for the office of mayor. So between the office of school board of education to the mayor, the range is $20 up to $100. And in turn, those small dollar donations must reach a certain threshold. So you would have to have, for instance, $40,000 worth of small dollar donations in the number of $1,000 to qualify you for mayor. So that's the highest amount. The lowest amount would be you have to accumulate a minimum amount of donations of 1,000, and the donations have to amount to 50 contributions from individuals, and that's for the school board, state board of education. So those are the ranges. When you become elected, you're eligible for a match of 5-to-1. That match is set by statute, and it's a certain percentage requirement that is taken from the prior winning campaigns. So say, for instance, a ward race is capped at $350-something thousand, and that is revised every campaign cycle, and it's set by statute. Again, to be part of this program, because the objective is to have people in the community be more part of that community, connected to that community. So debates are required. So anyone running for the public funding program must participate in debates with other people in that public funding program. If there are no contestants which they can debate, then we can reach out to the traditional program and a debate can be set up. But it is mandatory, it's not optional. So you are entitled, and you will hear from your candidate, you will hear from the individual that is seeking to represent you. Another parameter is that the individuals will have to partake, will have to be subject to an audit. So each individual that runs and receives public funding, it's a very transparent program. Every dollar that is issued to that individual is published on the website. Every report that the candidate submits, which is known as receipts and expenditures reports, is published on that website. This is non-negotiable, and every audit is conducted. Unlike the traditional program where you have an individual in office, that person, once their campaign is over, is selected at random for an audit. So every individual that partakes of public funding money has a very robust audit at the end of the election cycle. In addition, some of the generic parameters are mandatory training. The individual running for office has to submit to training. They have to go over the highlights of the statute, the regulations, limitations, expenditures, and all the appropriate rules and regulations for running a campaign. So it is very structured in terms of education and knowledge. In addition, any individual receiving public funds, once their campaign is over, absent any outstanding debt, they must remit any surplus funds back to the DC government, and those funds in turn go back and become part of the pot, so to speak, for the payout for public funds. And in addition, they have to donate any equipment that is generated or purchased as part of the campaign, and that has to go to a designated charitable foundation that's been in existence for a year. So as you can see, the whole objective is to create transparency and to give assistance to individuals to serve as a program that allows access for the masses to enter public service, as you can well appreciate. So if there are any questions, or if you want any numbers in terms of caps or dollars or expenditures or any detailed information, feel free to go to our website. And I can also provide some pamphlets that we do have and have them posted on your websites respectively. But we also, in addition, we are not only a compliance agency, but an informational agency. So we want to establish an objective for the Office of Campaign Finance to educate the public on running. So it is a more inclusive process. And in doing so, if there are issues that are unknown, if someone is attempting to navigate this process, we also render interpretive opinions through our legal department. So we're not just enforcement, we are educators and trainers for an expansive, new, and robust program that is available. And so I would like you to share the word and get the information out into the public, because for the 2024 ballot, there are going to be 2 council at large seats open, 1 school board of education at large seat open. And for the council wards, there's going to be council 2 well, Ward 2, 4, 7, and 8, and for the school board 2, 4, 7, and 8 as well. So that's going to make for a very robust election year coming up. And I assure you, many of these individuals running for these respective seats will be participants and then subsequently certified to the public financing program. So again, thank you for your attention. Any questions, and we'll be glad to come back on a needs basis in the future or a rotating basis, because as people get this information and decide they want to run, they're going to be undoubtedly a lot more questions. But if you can spread the word and share this new and exciting program with everyone, I would be happy to assist you. So thank you again. And any questions, please feel free.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you for all the work that you do. And I have a question, just one quick question. Is your office open for people to just walk in, or is it by appointment?
Right now, we are operating on a virtual basis. If someone would like to come in or wants to speak with someone specific, then I would suggest that they contact us online and make an appointment, or call the receptionist and an appointment could be made. But right now, our hearings are virtual and most of our meetings are virtual. And it's not exclusive, but it is preferred at this point in time. But if anyone would like to make contact, there are ways to do so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sticking around so late. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you. All right, that concludes our discussion. So we are going to move on to official business. The first one is probably going to take us maybe the most discussion, but the motion on the floor is to approve the Spring Valley Stormwater Sewer Retrofit NOI comments letter. Brad, could you, is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Elkins. Just really quick, I think they turned the heat off in here.
I don't think they ever turned it on.
Okay, it's cold here. Brad, could you just pull up this letter very quickly? Right now, this letter has us opposing this project unless DDOT makes some substantial changes and answers our questions. Number one, we don't think that this project is going to, the way it is currently designed, going to fix all of the Dale Carlia water drainage issues. If you've ever been down Carlia after a big rain, there's massive amounts of standing water, and they do have some bioretention fields designed there, but we don't think that it's robust enough. The second issue, which we haven't been able to get an answer from DDOT, is how are these going to be maintained? Right now, they're saying that it's going to be under the Department of Environment and Energy, the DOEE, and that they are applying for a grant. And then when we asked, well, will homeowners be able to service the bioretention areas using their landscapers or doing it themselves? And they can't even answer those questions. Those are pretty basic. For those of you who don't know what this project is about, the city, through a deal with the EPA, we need to prevent a lot of our stormwater runoff from hitting the Potomac River and the watershed that flows into it. Because when we get really heavy rains in Spring Valley and in the Broad Branch area, which we're not discussing here, some of our stormwater runoff mixes with our raw sewage. It's bad. And these bioretention fields are an extremely cost-efficient way of capturing that water throughout these catch basins, as opposed to getting a huge facility like they did over at the Anacostia that's actually going to capture the water all at once in massive quantities. So we feel like DDOT it's totally a worthwhile project. We want to see the project go through. And then I'm going to open it up for comment. Did any commissioner want to say anything? Commissioner Elkins?
There's one, excuse me.
Oh, Commissioner Colon Roosevelt.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I agree with basically everything you said, Trisha. I mean, I'm very concerned that they have basically not responded to any of our questions about the maintenance of these things. It seems like there is no real plan for that, or if they have one, they're just not being straightforward about it, which is really strange to me. We shouldn't, people in this neighborhood care a lot about their front lawns. They care a lot about their houses, and to, have these facilities be, completely built and then just left by DDOT or DOE or whoever is supposed to take care of it. It's just not, a way to move forward with this. And then also like the De La Carlia points, obviously they can absolutely expand the facility there. And the pedestrian safety is another thing that it really irks me about this. Like they're building these facilities on streets that already do not have sidewalks, and they are, just taking away space that pedestrians can use in our neighborhood to walk around our neighborhood, and they don't really have a plan otherwise. Part of the letter is asking for them to put in sidewalks in the places they're putting these in, so we can have a safe place for pedestrians to walk in our neighborhood while they're building these facilities. And just in general, because we do have a lot of streets in Spring Valley that do not have sidewalks on either side of the street, which is not what DC has planned. DC has said that they were going to put sidewalks on one side of at least every street in the city, and they have not done that. And so we're trying to use this here to get them to install some sidewalks on the streets in Spring Valley where they're building these facilities, and hopefully they will listen to us and take these points. And I'm not against the project. I like in general, I think that it's a really good idea, and I understand why they're doing it, but I think we have some significant concerns here, and they have not been addressed in all of the meetings that they've held. And maybe it's because the project's been rushed and the outreach hasn't been, great enough. The ANC had to step up to do a lot of work. Thank you, Chuck, Trisha, Derry, George. The Transportation Committee did an amazing job here with outreach. The DDOT was really doing. And so we did get to meet with neighbors and discuss with them about these issues, and these were a lot of their concerns. And I think this letter accurately portrays that, and I'll be voting yes. I think we should really send this to DDOT and DOE.
Mr. Elkins, did you have a comment?
I was particularly concerned by the statement by DOEE that they are going to apply for a grant or hope to get a grant. You think about this for a minute. These bioretention facilities are going to be here forever, as long as the streets are there, right? So DOE is going to get a grant. So how many times are they going to maintain this, and how many years? I mean, no, we need this in the base budget. And our letter makes the point that if they're going to build it, they need to maintain it. And if they're not going to maintain it, they shouldn't build it. That we should not be building facilities in this city that we're unwilling to maintain. And we neighbors will be particularly sensitive to that, I think, because we will find weeds and everything. In other words, it will be contradictory to the yards that people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year maintaining and making the neighborhood beautiful. I don't think the city needs to make them beautiful, but they need to keep them appropriately maintained. And I think that so far we have not really gotten the kind of responses I would have expected from the Department of Transportation on this project, and that's why I believe this letter needs to be very firm in terms of we oppose this project unless they're willing to make these changes.
I wanted to give our fellow constituent on this call, George, a chance if he wanted to speak up. He's worked incredibly hard on managing this project and assisting the ANC. Did you want to say anything?
Sure, I'm happy to say a few words. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, I'm on my phone, and I think I'm at 4% battery, so I'll be very, very brief. I'm very appreciative to the ANC Commission in the sort of rather forceful tone of this letter. Earlier iterations were sort of kind and gentle, and maybe in the next round, you guys will be a little bit more transparent at DDOT. But I think we're getting close to a point where they need to sort of come clean on what they can and cannot do. And that will also inform, the ANC as to, what are we really facing in terms of this project. They have not been very good in terms of public outreach. And I think we've done a reasonable job in sort of getting people aware of this, but now it's time to sort of lay out, you know, the ANCs and the neighborhoods cards and see what they respond. So I'm encouraged and strongly support the sort of rather firm tone of this letter. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you again for all of your work on this. Without any other comments, I'm ready to call the question. All those in favor of sending this letter? Passes unanimously. Moving on to 5017 Eskridge and 5024 Dana Place. I made some notes here before we call a question because I need to make sure I know what we're voting on here. These are the homes that have been built very close to the road over by Key School. There is a public hearing before the Public Space Committee on November 16th. Commissioner Horn and Elkins have been instrumental in bringing the problems with these builds to light with DDOT and DOB. We will have a chance to testify before the Public Space Committee on November 16th. And I'm asking my colleagues to approve that ANC3D being represented by me at the hearing is what we would like. We are going to be presenting our findings based on all of our previously approved letters, and we will be asking the committee to have the owner build a sidewalk in addition to moving his steps at the one house. And I make a motion on the floor. Seconded by Commissioner Simkowitz. Does anyone have any questions?
Madam Chairman, I had to drop out of a meeting that took place today, which you were attending related to this project. Did we hear information that would lead us to believe that the Department of Buildings might well determine that these houses violate the zoning regulations with regard to setback? So that we could make this a Department of Buildings issue as well as a Department of Transportation, or did you and Commissioner Horn conclude that we don't have a case with regard to that?
I believe that Commissioner Horn and I are going to be making some inquiries with the Department of Buildings on the setback. This is a very complicated issue, but we brought this up earlier in the year where we had the corner staked out. And we found out exactly where the property lines are. And most of the block has this building restriction line, a no build line there, but these two houses don't. And there are a couple of issues that the AG's office recommended we ask the zoning administrator.
Okay, so I just want to express strong support for bringing the Department of Buildings in, if in fact there's a basis to do so.
I think yes, we are gonna make some inquiries there.
Good.
Okay. All those in favor of the Public Space Committee hearing, any opposition? Are you in favor, Quentin? Okay. Commissioner Cullen, that passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is 4301 49th Street street sign for small door veterinary. Motion on the floor is to approve this street sign for the Public Space Committee. Second by Commissioner Horn. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want to see a picture of it real quick?
I would like to see a picture and can you explain where the sign's gonna go?
Yes, okay, so Bradley, if you have it, I think I put the image on the ANC website if you want to pull it up. This is over at the Spring Valley Shopping Center. In the back where the parking lot is, there's going to be a new tenant there. It's a new veterinarian, and they're called Small Door Vet.
Dennis,
Ma'am,
do you want to hear the meeting?
you're unmuted. There we go. The sign is there. I did talk to the landlord and he was in full support and would like to see this sign. I'm hoping our administrator Bradley, can you find the sign?
It is on the website.
Yeah. I could probably pull it up.
Hey, were you looking for the drawing?
Yeah, I think there's like a photo, like a rendering. I think it's on the. So this is gonna be on 49th Street near, you know where their out parcel is, where it used to be the ski place? No, this is for the small door vet. 4301 49th Street. Did I link the wrong picture? I know it's in our drive.
I see it in the link on the website. Just on ANC3D.org or whatever.
There it is. Okay, so if you're driving up 49th, this is the driveway into the parking lot on the backside. And they have it's like a black monolith sign. It says small door veterinary. I think it's extremely informative. Anyone walking by with a dog is going to see it. I think it's going to serve the neighborhood. And Mr. Doherty, the landlord there, was in more than full support.
And the reason why we're approving it is because it's technically in public space.
It is totally in public space. It's actually due in the top system tonight.
I guess I think it's a very nice looking sign.
I like it too.
But this is the only tenant that now gets a sign. Aren't there a lot of other tenants there?
So a lot of the tenants there have signs on their fascia, and I'm not sure if they have a. And to me personally, that's between the landlord and the tenant. But I see what you mean. Are we opening up a can of worms?
Well, that's
to have billboards.
Right.
I thought about it initially. I actually drove up there today because initially I thought it was on Massachusetts Avenue, and I was worried about the precedent because you have in that mall you got about half a dozen.
I also thought it was where the
one person
CVS
gets a perpendicular sign, and everybody's going to want one across Massachusetts. They have a single sign for the whole mall, but then I realized this is on 49th, so there's really only one storefront I think on 49th. Is there not? Is it just that one? There used to be ski centers at the same building that ski center was in.
Yeah, that building is really big, and I think we're going to see a bunch of new buildings. But if you're at that out parcel where the ski center is, you can actually have your sign on the building.
On the building, yeah, but I'm talking about like a perpendicular sign where like a signage where this one's kind of like not attached to the building itself, but out on public property.
Yeah, I think based on where their storefront is,
yeah,
they're not going to have frontage on any of the streets there.
But is it just worth considering, like if other companies, see them doing it, they're going to want their own as well, and then you might wind up with a bunch. Is it going to set a precedent that way? Just worth considering. I think it's very attractive. I think it looks nice too. I don't see anything wrong.
Are you saying, Madam Chairman, that this facility, this particular business is in such a position in the shopping center that they do not have the ability to have a normal sign?
It was totally my understanding, but I may have been assuming.
Because that allows us not to have 5 more of these erected. In other words, we wouldn't have one for the pizza parlor and all that. I mean, this we don't want one of these for every one of these businesses. Right?
Correct. But I
So-
think that everybody gets a sign.
I mean, this is just for the ones in the back. So I mean, like Pizza Paradiso is in the front, and they have a sign on the front. I mean, they're on mats. So this is just. I mean, the only other thing that's back there is what, like Bank of America. Is there even still there? I mean, it's in that tiny little building in the back. So we're not going to have. I mean, I assume you're not going to have Compass or Pizza Paradiso asked to put signs on the sidewalk after this.
That's fine. Just
All right.
look into the future.
I'm going to call the question. I will not be offended if it's not unanimous. All those in favor? Any opposed?
I'll vote no.
All right. Yeah, it's good to not
I
have
don't
a
really
thing.
care.
5 that passes 5 to 0. And then our last official action is the trolley trestle letter. So the motion on the floor is going to be to approve this letter. And I think Brad has this ready to come up. It's not much. We approved signing on to this idea at the last meeting, but then they sent me the letter. And when I got around to really reading it, I thought it might be something that we should vote on.
Madam Chairman, I
Yes.
was not at the last meeting, I guess. You're talking about the special meeting.
Uh,
So, I mean, what meeting was this where we talked about this?
yeah, the Georgetown student came. And he talked about they're sort of leading the charge at 2E.
Oh, that trust, yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
This is that.
And
So
they
what is-
didn't,
what
they
is-
didn't have their language,
Okay,
at at our meeting. It took them a while.
They
to
sent
get
it
the
like
language.
5 days later, and then it took me like another,
And
you
what
know.
does it say?
Brad, can you, if you look in the OneDrive shared folder, the trestle letter is in there.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Sorry, I didn't have it up.
So I believe they voted without having language. Is that correct? Commissioner Duncan?
Yes, we voted on the idea of it. It's addressed to interim director Kirschbaum. And it says we voted, I inserted ANC3D for ANC3E. And Brad can, can you find it, Brad? I'm gonna start reading it. ANC3D awaits the opportunities that a new fiscal year brings. On October 1st, 2023, $250,000 in funding was unlocked for planning for future restoration and possible purchase of the trolley trestle across the southern end of Glover Archibald Park, end quote. This boundary branch trolley trestle presents a unique opportunity for preservation and restoration of a historic structure. ANC3D notes that the District Department of Transportation will be assuming liability for the structure, but believes it is prudent that DDOT be a decision maker rather than the Washington Metro Area Transit Authority. As the only trestle remaining in the district, ANC3D supports the efforts of the DC Preservation League to encourage DDOT to purchase the historic trestle from WMATA, which is actively seeking to raise this trestle. Therefore, ANC3D requests that DDOT appoints a project manager and develops a plan to spend the $250,000 in funding. The ANC further requests that DDOT provide a status report by November 17th, 2023. But that was just something that they put in there. And I'm seeing I forgot to change one of the 2Es to the 3Ds. I mean, do we want to give them a deadline? I like the idea of them getting a project manager or someone, a point person in charge of spending this money
17th seems a little
early.
short. What about December 1?
Okay, friendly amendment, we'll change those November 17th to December 1. Any other comments?
Looks good.
Okay, Brad, I am noting these changes. And then there was one typo, we need to change 2E to 3D. All right, all of those in favor to do the letter as amended? And none opposed, passes unanimously with one absent. All right, that concludes our official actions. So we are on to new business. And the first item up is the 5122 Cathedral Avenue testimony. And I would like to read some notes that I put out for this. Okay, this is the BZA case that was postponed because the Department of Buildings withdrew the building permit and the owner, Mr. Argarwal, surrendered the permits so that there will be no ability for him to appeal. This all happened essentially at the BZA hearing that we had so prepared for. We have received a copy of the new plans currently under review by the Department of Buildings, and we are waiting for a ruling from the zoning administrator to classify this project as a raise or an addition. Either way, we have another BZA meeting on November 15th to hear the case. We are not certain if a building permit will even be issued by the state. If the project is not classified as a raise, We will be testifying at this hearing. We will likely be testifying to have the rear wall that has been built to be removed if DOB and the zoning administrator don't mandate this themselves first. So I'm going to make a motion to have me once again testify at this next hearing on November 15th. And the content of this testimony is going to be largely dependent on if the hearing happens because the building permits are issued and what the Department of Buildings and the zoning administrator decide in terms of a raise or an addition. Do I have a second? I mean, I don't, go ahead,
A second.
a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, we've already taken position on this and in great detail, so I'm sure that your testimony will follow what we've already officially approved.
100%. I think that we are all in agreement on these projects. All right, all those in favor? We are moving on to the QFR.
We have that issue of what are we gonna do with the MacArthur or
Yeah,
what
let's
do
do
you-
the QFR and then we're gonna do that. Thanks for reminding me. Brad, can you, I think the QFR is on the website. Okay. For this quarter, we paid PNC Bank $15. We paid Andrea Firster for the Wesley PUD $1,365. We paid $600 to All Tech for the boundary survey. PNC Bank, and the Paul Handog transcriptions. And we received $60 from OANC. And this QFR was, this is really Maryland's thing, but does anyone have any questions?
Why'd we get $60?
There's
It's a weird number.
There's an adjustment problem between the accounting, between the OANC and us to our favor. That's my understanding.
So
There's been this
we,
problem, the running problem about $60. It's when you balance your checkbook and for some ridiculous reason it doesn't balance. This is the ridiculous reason, $60.
are there any questions about this?
Looks good,
All right, Brad, do you want to turn this off?
but we need to vote for it.
Yep. Motion on the floor is to approve this QFR. Second by Commissioner Cologne Roosevelt. All those in favor? None opposed. All right, perfect. I am totally drawing a blank. We need to talk about.
We need to see
the
what we're
MacArthur
gonna
Apartments.
do. If we're gonna ask the BZA for a delay of at least January. So that we can have a real discussion prior to their vote and their meeting on this project because of the parking change. And I suggest that we just formally ask them to delay this until January to give everybody a chance to know what we're gonna be discussing. What we're gonna be voting on at our meeting and then at the BZA. Because right now the BZA has a new project presumably that they have to look at regarding parking. You know, it's not what was initially presented to them.
Yeah, so it hasn't
make
been
sense?
presented to them at all yet. I mean, they did get the.
They got an
they got,
application.
yes, they got
did,
an
But it
application.
has to be changed. So I think that in fairness to everybody, the easiest thing to do is just ask for an extension.
Yeah, I agree with that. It seems to me that there's gonna be a new application of some sort. And we have no guarantee we will have it before our meeting on December 6th. Even if we do have it, we may not have it for very long. The public will not have had a chance to comment on it in a meaningful way. And yet we'll be forced to vote on December 6th. So it seems to me that's just not right.
Any
I
other
know
comments?
you're tired of this. I don't blame you. But
Who isn't?
I think we need to think about our constituents. As you said, the neighborhood is not uniform with regard to this parking issue. So it's not like we say, oh, well, 99% of our constituents want us to oppose this thing. I don't know. Don't think
I mean,
that's
I
true.
was kind of assuming if they're asking for 8 parking spaces of relief, it wouldn't pass the commission. But
Right.
This is a weird project. We've had 2 special meetings on it. I just think it's the community wants to know what's going on with this, and a couple weeks is not going to give them enough time.
We can't hear community concerns and have them do a presentation and vote on this at the December meeting. It's just not. It's not a thing we can do.
okay, does someone want to make a motion? For us
I make a
to,
motion that we ask the BZA for at least 1 month extension from December to January for us to receive a revised application, because it would have to be revised. And then we could receive community comment, we could hear testimony from the applicant, and then we could presumably vote.
do we have a second?
Second.
Elgin's second. Any further discussion?
Wait, so just to be clear here, there's a January BZA, and so wait, our meeting for January is when exactly? Because that's when we would vote on this, I assume. Then do we even have a schedule for next year? Actually, wait.
We have a schedule for next January. We set it.
Oh, you're right. We said it as part of the last schedule. Yeah.
I believe it is the 10th.
Okay. Would that be before the BZA meeting? I guess is the question.
We'd have to ask, they usually meet twice a month.
So
maybe that's a friendly amendment that we ask for a BZA hearing after we have a chance to vote on.
after that's it has to be after the meeting. Yes. Otherwise,
With the timing, is that correct? 2 weeks?
They have a hearing on January 24th.
okay.
Does that give us enough time to receive the great weight?
Yeah, because that's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks.
It's, so that would give
The
us enough
10th
time.
and then the 24th.
So no sooner than the 24th is what we'd be asking for. And I would emphasize the fact that this commission is supposed to hear comments from our constituency. Parking is a big issue, so it's not a minor amendment, and that we need to hear that testimony based on the community understanding what the applicant is asking for, which means we need the application, we need to publicize it, we need to have people tell us what they think, and we just can't do that under this current schedule.
And I have a question for Commissioner Elkins. Would 14 days satisfy the time limit to get great weight, or is it 15?
Yeah,
days?
no, it's, I don't, the BCA.
You have to upload your stuff 7 days ahead.
7 days.
7 days. Gives us a week to refine our letter.
Thank you.
The only problem I have with this, we have no idea when this applicant is making this application.
Well, I think if they don't present us a revised project, we would say no in general. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
And we can't vote on something that's not presented to us.
Why don't we say that they need to present at December 6th, that
Yeah.
that if the applicant is able to present on December 6th, then we would like to have the BZA extend this until the 24th of January. But if they're not able to present on December 6th, then January 24th is too soon.
Correct.
You're hoping you're gonna get rid of it in this calendar year, right? You thought you could handle that. That very good work, Madam Chair, but you didn't quite pull it off because of the last minute change by our new zoning administrator, who, by the way,
It's gonna be
it
very,
sounds like she's gonna be very good.
yes, I.
She's willing to make an unpopular decision. Unpopular with the applicant. I'm not sure the former one would have.
Okay, motion on the floor is that we ask the BZA for an extension assuming the applicant can present to us on January 6th, the earliest we could have a hearing with, before the BZA is January 24th.
Right.
Okay,
So we would vote on January 10th. Yeah, you need to put that in the letter, I think, so they know we'll have a presentation on the 6th. We'll have public input following that, that during the month of December, we will then vote on this January 10th.
all those in favor to the motion as amended? All those opposed? Passes. Thank you, everyone. I do believe we have minutes, but I'm not sure we
I don't
circulated.
think we do. I've forgotten who volunteered to write them. I may have been the volunteer, but I can tell you I did not.
I thought Brad had maybe done the minutes.
No, I asked Brad. He had not.
He had not, okay.
But he said he would.
I am going to officially notice our next meeting December 6th. This is one of our official notices.
Right.
And do any of the commissioners have anything else they would like to say?
Don't we officially notice them back in January, like Commissioner Elkins said?
Well, we said it was,
These are like if needed. No, it's needed.
that's the reason.
I don't have a problem with meeting, it's
No,
just,
it's not set.
I wasn't planning on doing it, but now that this parking thing has come up, this is like. Motion to adjourn?
Madam Chairman, I'm disappointed. I predicted to my wife we would have adjourned by 9 o'clock
It's
because
9:04.
of your.
Oh, one last thing, just to Commissioner Davis, Ashley Mercer sent me a DM noticing that that park that we're talking about with the wood chips may be NPS property, which may be one of the issues with getting them removed, which means that if we do actually attempt to do this, it will be like hell, because it's NPS and they do not listen to anything we say ever almost, but we can try. So we can talk about it between the next meeting and now.
I know. We'll talk about it.
Oh, man. Oh, no wonder the city dumped it there.
That's an easy way to get it off your hands. Just dump it on NPS property.
I don't have to deal with it. Interesting.
Oh my gosh, a dash of cynicism here at the end. I love it.
I didn't finish my major point that with your normal chairmanship skill, we would have adjourned by 9 o'clock, but all of us filibustered it.
We did.
Just to keep you from having that success.
All right, motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
second.
All those in favor? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.